A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo silver. The Lone Ranger. With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early western United States. Nowhere in the pages of history can one find a greater champion of justice. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again.
Come on, Silver. Let's go, big fellow. Hi-yo, Silver! Hi!
The Rancho de la Rosa, once the verdant paradise of a proud Spanish family, had declined over the span of a century into a sun-baked and cactus-studded redoubt of the mysterious bandit known as Pancho Blanco. No longer did great herds of cattle roam the ranges. No longer were the guitars and soft voices of the vaqueros heard after sundown. Rancho de la Rosa lay like something lifeless, shrouded in an ominous pall of silence, broken only occasionally by the tolling of an ancient bell. This bell once summoned peons to their daily tasks, their prayers, and to their fiestas. Now, when its somber tones rolled over the parched vastness, the outlaws of Pancho Blanco rode out of the hills to rally around their white-blanketed leader and his great black stallion Ebony at the hacienda of Rancho de la Rosa. Pancho Blanco was poised to strike again. Through a padre known to be a friend of the Lone Ranger, Sam Blake, United States Marshal, had sent for the masked man.
The padre said you wished to see me, Marshal.
Yes, I figured he'd be able to get in touch with you. Sit down.
Thanks, Marshal.
You got here a lot sooner than I thought you would.
Tonto and I were at Centerville when I got word. I rode right over.
It's about that bandit, Pancho Blanco. You know him, of course.
Oh, yes, I know of him. As much as anyone seems to know about him.
Well, then it can't be much.
That's right. He's very mysterious.
Ever tried to track him down?
No?
Why not?
Well, I understood you had sworn to get him, dead or alive. And that you had a good reason.
Yes, I have. He's killed 3 United States Marshals in the last 5 years. All of them were friends of mine.
Yes, I heard that was your reason.
I put out word to lawmen that Pancho Blanco was my game. It was the biggest mistake I ever made. I haven't been able to find a trace of him. That's why I sent for you.
You want my help to run him down. Is that it?
That's it. I won't rest until Pancho Blanco and that big black stallion Ebony are run down and captured. You're the only man who seems to be a match for him. Your Silver is the only horse I know of that's a match for Ebony. Will you do it?
Well, I'll try.
That's all I ask, that you try. No one seems to know anything about the critter. Leastwise, those who do won't talk.
I realize that. It won't be easy.
Yeah, somebody's riding up outside.
Be coming in here.
Yes, maybe you'd better step into the next room. You're masked, and he might not understand.
Certainly, Marshal.
I'll get rid of him quick, and we can talk about plans for getting Pancho Blanco.
Marshal Blanco.
Yeah, what is it?
I just rode in from Centerville. It's Pancho Blanco. He's raided the town.
Pancho Blanco?
Yeah, he and his band hit town at noon. They robbed the bank, the post office, and stole a couple of horses.
Now, just a minute. Calm down. Here lately, everybody blames Pancho Blanco for everything. How do you know it was him and his gang?
I saw him myself. I was standing in the street within 100 feet of him when he and his men rode off.
I know, but that still doesn't make him Pancho Blanco. What did he look like?
He was wearing a big Mexican sombrero, and that white blanket was flying from his shoulders like the shroud of a ghost. And
Go on.
he was riding that big black stallion, the finest horse I ever saw.
I guess you're right after all. It was Pancho Blanco.
Hurry, Marshal. They told me to bring you back as quick as I could.
Now, listen.
Yeah?
You go down to the sheriff's office. Tell them to round up his deputies.
Right.
I'll not wait for them. I'll ride on ahead, and they can follow me. Now, get going.
I'll get him. We'll see you in Centerville.
Come on out, mister. I guess you heard all that.
Yes, it sounds like Pancho Blanco, all right.
Here, this is our chance to get him. My horse is saddled. Let's go.
Very well. 20 miles to Centerville. That means you'll have a good start on us.
Where's Tonto?
I left him at our camp near Centerville. We'll ride there first. Steady, big fella. Easy. Come on, settle there.
Get him back. Come on.
When Pancho Blanco and his band of outlaws rode out of Centerville, they headed into the rough country southeast of town, where they planned to disperse to make pursuit difficult, if not impossible. They had almost reached the breakup point when suddenly the black stallion Ebony stumbled and fell headlong, throwing his white blanketed rider clear of the high-backed Spanish saddle. As the bandits reined up and dismounted, they saw Pancho Blanco rise from the ground with difficulty. They rushed to his aid, ignoring the black horse.
Are you hurt, Pancho?
Oh, no, senor. Pancho Blanco is not hurt. You're shaken up. I am most fortunate my neck is not broke.
Here, let me help you.
It's not I who need assistance. It's my horse, Ebony, who needs it.
Ebony? Oh, yes, he is still down. Looks like he's done for.
Yes, from the way he lies, he looks as if he may never rise again. Come, let us examine him.
Surrounded by his men, Pancho Blanco walked slowly to the horse that had carried him safely through the ever-reaching fingers of justice for years. He bent over the big stallion and studied him in silence for a few moments. And when Ebony whinnied pleadingly, the bandit leader said in a voice thick and husky,
For many years, my good steed Ebony, you have outrun all those who have pursued us. You have shaken them all from our trail. All but one pursuer. That one, my good Ebony, has clung to your trail with the tenacity of the leech to the flesh. He has come closer and closer with each fleeting second. Now he has at last caught up with you. That pursuer, my friend, has been time and old age. It overtakes us all eventually. Old age. Blinds the eyes, stumbles the feet. Old age, Ebony, my faithful, caught up with you today. Adios, amigo mío.
Without more ado, Pancho Blanco stood erect, his blanketed back turned upon the fallen horse, and faced his men with tearless eyes.
Remove the saddle. Put it on one of the horses we took in Centerville.
What about Ebony? Want me to shoot him? Put him out of his misery?
No, you fool. Look to the far hills there.
Hey, 3 horsemen. I can just make them out.
They followed the trail we took. A shot would echo through these hills like the tolling of the bell at Rancho de la Rosa.
They'd hear it, no doubt of that. I sure hate to leave him laying there, Pancho.
The wolves will take care of him. I'll get his saddle off.
Well, Pancho, here's that big bay we stole in Centerville. Steady there.
Fine horse, but never so good as my faithful Ebony. Oh, hold up.
Steady.
Attention, men. From here, we each go our separate way. Keep to the rough country and leave no trail. Darkness will soon come to our aid.
Pancho.
When each of you is certain no pursuer follows, return to the Rancho de la Rosa. When all of you have gathered there, we split the loot we took today. Hasta la vista.
Hasta la vista.
Vámonos.
Go on.
Get up there.
had been easy for the Lone Ranger, in company with Tonto and Marshal Sam Blake, to pick up the trail of Pancho Blanco and his bandits at a point not far from Centerville. But they were slow to a walk when the trail became more and more difficult to follow through the hills.
Trail not good here, Kimasabi.
No, Tonto. They're keeping to shale and riverbeds as much as possible.
It'll start getting dark mighty soon. Then we won't have a chance.
The band will probably have broken up and scattered by that time. It's a strategy Pancho Blanco always uses.
You know, my friend, I think I made a mistake in coming along with you.
Mistake? In what way, Marshal?
Well, I don't dare tell the sheriff or anybody I was with you and Tonto.
I can understand that.
Now, if I show back in town and admit I didn't get any farther than I have before, it's not going to look good. The sheriff will say I should have waited and gone along with him and his deputies.
Yes, I see what you mean, Marshal. They may not even believe you followed the trail this far.
That's right. They've been saying lately I want to grab glory, not Pancho Blanco.
Well, it's too late to turn back now. As long as you don't return, they won't know whether you failed or not.
Well, I'd have to have a mighty good reason to go back now.
Kimasabi,
Yes, Tonto?
look. We see horse way off. Him lay on ground.
Right up. Ho, Silver. Yes, Tonto. Black horse.
Maybe him dead horse.
Hey, do you see them wolves?
Yes. It means the horse isn't dead. They're preparing to move in for the kill.
Me see 2 wolves.
I'll use my rifle.
Well, you're a good shot, I know, but you'll never hit them critters from here.
I'll have to try it. They'll have that horse before we can get much closer. Steady, Silver. Easy.
Holy catch, you got one of them.
That plenty good shot.
Hope I'm as lucky this time. Steady, Silver.
You got him.
If I hadn't have seen it, I never would have believed it.
Now, let's get down there. I want to look at that horse. Come on, Silver.
Come on,
Get him back.
come on.
Oh, Silver.
Easy, fella. Easy, fella. Him try to get up.
Easy there, fella. Let me look you over.
Somebody's been riding him recent. He's lathered plenty. How are his legs?
They're skinned and swollen, but they don't seem to be broken.
Him plenty sick.
Yes, let's try to get him up. Come on, fella.
Come on, way up with you.
Need help.
Easy, boy.
There, he's up. Easy, boy. Easy now.
He's plenty bruised. Must have stumbled and fell.
No doubt of it. Marshal,
Yes?
I know this horse, and you do, too.
I never laid eyes on him, mister.
Neither did I. But I know him by description. Jet black, extra big. And look at his tracks. See the length of his strides?
Hey, we've been following these tracks. This must be Pancho Blanco's horse Ebony.
I think he answered that question himself.
Him no name. Good horse.
Pancho Blanco must have left him when he fell.
Yeah, they had extra horses. They stole 2 in the raid on Centerville today.
Yes, I know.
Why Pancho Blanco not shoot him? Why leave him to wolves?
He probably feared a shot might attract the attention of a posse.
What'll we do with him? He's too good a horse to destroy.
May I make a suggestion, Marshal?
Yes, of course. I hoped you would.
After we've attended to his injuries, suppose you turn back and take him with you.
Me? Turn back?
The mere possession of this horse will be ample proof to the sheriff and others that you risked your life to catch Pancho.
Yes, I see what you mean. I'll do it.
Good. Pancho's been hard on this horse. It's time someone treated him well. I don't think you'll ever regret it, Marshal.
I'll have him fat and sassy in no time. He'll be worth his keep.
It's getting too dark to trail now. We'll camp here for the night and attend to Ebony. Then Tonto and I'll start out again at daylight.
The curtain falls on the first act of our Lone Ranger story. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. now to continue our story. When morning came, the Lone Ranger and Tonto took their leave of Marshal Sam Blake and Ebony. But after weeks of fruitless search, the masked man understood why Marshal Blake had failed. One night by the campfire, he told Tonto of his decision.
No use trying any longer to pick up the trail of Pancho Blanco or his men, Tonto. They've completely disappeared.
Me sorry, Kimasabi.
There's only one thing left to do.
What that?
Well, we have friends throughout the Southwest. Lawmen, cattlemen, hunters, trappers, herders, and others.
That's right.
Somewhere among them, we may find one who knows something to help us find the hideout of Pancho.
We go talk to friends?
Yes, Tonto. Our only course now. It will take time, maybe months. But we've got to do it. If that fails, we may never know the answer to the mystery of Pancho Blanco.
Meanwhile, weeks had grown into months since the raid on Centerville, and under the generous care of Marshal Sam Blake, the one-time mount of Pancho Blanco recovered from his injuries. His gaunt frame took on a rounded sleekness, and the great head was again held high. But the lawman noticed a growing restlessness in Ebony, a restlessness that was something more than the high spirit of a thoroughbred. Then one day, the lawman stocked his saddlebags, bridled the big black stallion, and started out.
Come on, Ebony. Get up, boy. Come on.
3 weeks later, after many weary miles of aimless wandering, the marshal and Ebony approached a ranch whose unkempt appearance showed no sign of its one-time grandeur. To all appearances, it was abandoned and unoccupied. But Marshal Blake observed that the great black stallion quickened his pace as they neared the dilapidated hacienda, and a spark of hope glowed in his breast.
Ebony, old boy, this must be the place, or else you're mighty thirsty.
But the marshal's anticipation of final success quickly faded into disappointment when the black stallion drew up at the ancient well, above which was an aged and weathered bell tower covered with a gnarled and massive grapevine. Thirst, he reasoned, had brought Ebony there. The lawman dismounted.
Steady there, old fellow. Yep. Well, I guess I can stand a swig of cold water myself.
The marshal drew 2 buckets of cool water and poured it into the trough for the horse. He saved only enough to fill the dipper that hung from a peg on the bell tower. As he tipped his hat to the back of his perspiring brow and lifted the cooling draft to his lips, his eyes wandered aimlessly up the lush foliage of the grapevine to center at last upon the great bell, so typical of the old Spanish ranchos of a bygone day. Suddenly, he seemed to sense the presence of someone else, and he turned to face a swarthy man from whose shoulders draped a snow-white blanket.
I see you admire the great bell, senor.
Oh, yes. I didn't see you when you rode up.
I saw you, senor. I come to welcome you to the Rancho de la Rosa.
Yeah, that's quite an old bell you have up there.
My ancestors brought it from Spain 200 years ago. They came soon after Coronado.
Is that so? Well. Where's the rope that rings the bell?
Like my ancestors, it is rotted and gone these many years, senor. The ancient vine you see there has served instead.
Oh, yes, I see. It's twined itself into the bell rack.
See, it is as old as the bell.
You don't say.
Ah, a fine horse you have there.
Yes, he's a good mount. A little old, maybe.
Where did you acquire him, senor?
I bought him from a fella. He said he found him.
See? He's very much like a horse I once had. He, too, has a fine mount.
What was his name?
Ebony.
Well, I'll be doggone. That's what I call this horse. Because he's black as ebony from China. Yes, sir, ebony.
It is very hot day, senor. It is much cooler on the veranda of the hacienda. Won't you join me?
Well, now, I reckon I wouldn't mind a little cool shade. If you will just have one of your stablemen put my horse under shelter.
The horse will enjoy the shade of the bell tower much better, senor. I I greatly regret that none of my stablemen are on the rancho at the moment.
That's all I wanted to know. Get your hands
What?
up.
A gun. What is the meaning of this, senor?
I knew if I gave Ebony his head, he'd come back to the place he knew his home. Pancho Blanco, you're under arrest.
Who are you?
Sam Blake, United States Marshal. Ebony gave you away when you called his name and he whinnied. But I wanted to make sure none of your gang was around to jump me when I put you under arrest.
You are very clever, senor. I only regret that I did not shoot the horse the day he fell. I should have known that someday he would betray me.
It's too late for regrets now. It's taken me a long time to run you down, Pancho Blanco, but I've got you dead to rights now, and you'll hang. Now get moving toward the stable. We'll saddle a horse for you and get out of here. Who's ringing that bell?
Look back and you will see, senor.
Now, hold on there. Why, it's Ebony. He's eating the leaves on the grapevine.
And as he eats them, he tugs the ancient vine. And thus tolls the bell, senor.
Well, they're the only things worth eating around here as far as I can see.
Pancho Blanco takes back the curses he has just heaped upon Ebony. He's still my faithful one.
What do you mean by that?
That you have not hung Pancho Blanco yet, Senor Marshal. No. Perhaps he will never hang.
I don't know what you're talking about. Now get a move on and saddle a horse.
About the time Marshal Sam Blake had ridden into the Rancho de la Rosa, the Lone Ranger and Tonto approached a small spring in the desert. A herd of sheep grazed on the sparse grass, guarded only by a small boy in ragged dungarees and an old sombrero, much too large for him.
There, Pedro.
Yes, and he sees us, Tonto. He's grinning in recognition.
Him glad to see old friends.
While our horses drink, I'll question him about Pancho Blanco. He's just a boy, but... Oh, Silver. Oh, you
no,
disturbing
fella.
fellow.
Buenos dias, amigo míos.
Buenos dias, Pedro.
How?
You mind if we water our horses at your spring?
Pedro welcomes old friends, senor. There's plenty water for your horse and my sheep. Oh, you have ridden far today.
Yes, Pedro, we have. We came to see you. Has the bandit Pancho Blanco ever stopped at your spring?
Oh, no, senor, he has not.
Many people stop here to water their mounts, Pedro. I thought perhaps you may have heard something at some time about the abode of Pancho Blanco.
No, senor, I have nothing. Oh, yet, senor, there is something strange I can tell you.
What is it, Pedro?
To the south, there is the Rancho de la Rosa. On a rancho is an ancient bell.
How do you know?
I have heard it many times, senor. Each time I have heard it ring, I have seen men ride from the hills toward the Rancho de la Rosa. And that is not all, senor.
No?
Well, sometimes it is 2 days, or sometimes it is a week, or even longer, senor. But always after the bell has rung, I hear that Pancho Blanco has struck again.
Is that all you know?
Si, senor. Perhaps it is nothing. Perhaps it is only chance, or daydreams of a shepherd boy, senor.
I doubt that.
There it is, senor. It's the bell of the Rancho de la Rosa.
That plenty big bell. Sound carry far.
Yes.
Soon you'll see the men ride from the hills, senor.
Pedro, that means Pancho is at Rancho de la Rosa. He's calling his men together for another raid. I shall reward you well. Here.
Oh, gracias, amigo mío. You are very generous.
And what we do, Kimasabi?
We ride to the rancho as fast as we can get there. If we can capture Pancho Blanco before his outlaws arrive, we can pick them off one by one when they ride in. Adios, Pedro.
Adios, amigo. You are very brave,
Let's
senor.
go, Tonto. Easy, Scout, easy, fella. Come on, Silver. Come on, Scout.
Meanwhile, in the stables of Rancho de la Rosa, Marshal Sam Blake grew impatient with the casual ease with which Pancho Blanco groomed and saddled his own mount.
Hurry up there, Pancho. You're taking too much time.
Si, senor. Do we travel far?
Yes, about a 3-day ride.
Oh, then I will need saddlebags.
Yes, you will. Take one of them off the hook there.
Take this one. First, I shall see what is in it.
Hurry up. Throw it back of the saddle.
Drop the gun, senor.
Where'd you get that gun?
Drop it or I kill you. Pancho Blanco always goes well armed, senor. Even in his saddlebags. That is where the gun came from.
You'll never get away with this, Pancho. You'll hang.
And who will hang me, senor? when you are dead.
There's a man on your trail right now. He's been trailing you for months. Someday, somewhere, he'll run you down. And when he does, you'll hang.
And who, my friend, is this great one you speak of?
He's the Lone Ranger.
You talk of phantoms, of hobgoblins. Listen, my friend.
Who's that riding in here?
They are not phantoms or hobgoblins. When my faithful Ebony ate the leaves on the ancient vine, he tolled the bell that calls Pancho Blanco's outlaws to the hacienda. Those you hear now are the first to arrive. Come, let us go meet them, senor.
Stop that gun!
Caramba, masked man.
What did I say?
Not Pancho Blanco. Oh!
Grab him, Marshal. Grab him.
Yep, I've got him. Yeah, you came in the nick of time, my friend. We've got to get out of here fast.
You will never leave the Rancho de la Rosa alive.
I doubt that, Pancho.
Kimasabi.
Yes, Toto.
Me see men come toward ranch. Them ride from many directions.
Get your gun, Marshal. We'll stay here in the stables. As they ride in, we'll take them one by one.
My gun's back there where I dropped it. I'll go get it.
Toto, tie up Pancho. Then get your rifle.
Me do it. Me get rope here.
Hey, yep, I'm ready.
Good. Let's take our stand by the door. Within 10 minutes, the outlawed days of Pancho Blanco and his band should be over.
As the Lone Ranger had expected, the outlaws rode in singly and in pairs and were easily taken into custody and disarmed. As they surrendered, Tonto tied them securely to their saddles, and in less than half an hour, all were ready to ride toward Centerville. As the first of the outlaws moved northward, the Lone Ranger gave instructions to Marshal Sam Blake.
You ride close to Pancho, Marshal. See that he pulls no tricks.
I sure will. Tied or not, I don't trust him.
Tonto will guard the rear flank, and I'll take the lead. Come on, Silver!
Well, Pancho, looks like your bandit days are over, thanks to him.
And who, senor, is the masked one?
He's that phantom, that hobgoblin you were talking about. He's the Lone Ranger.
This is a feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated, created and produced by George W. Trendle, directed by Charles D. Livingston, and edited by Fran Stryker. The part of the Lone Ranger is played by Brace Beamer.
You've been listening to the OTR Gold Network. Find more classic radio at otrgold.com.